All right. What's up, everybody? My name is Brian Nichols, and welcome to another video of mine. Today's video is going to be a reaction video to the two MMA events that just finished about 30 minutes ago. Those two events are the UFC on ESPN 24 and the Bellator 238 events. I think Bellator just finished about maybe 10-15 minutes ago, not too long ago, which to me is really late. I feel like Bellator should not be going that late, but I have more comments about Bellator than just how late they went today, and I think I'm going to make a separate video because I really, don't get me wrong, I like Bellator, but I feel like there's just little things they can change that would just benefit the casual audience, the hardcore audience. Anyways, I don't want to go too into it. I have a bunch of bullet points on my notepad I want to talk about. I'm going to make a separate video on that. But hope you guys are doing well. Obviously, it's super late where I am. It's 12:11 a.m. Obviously, my hair is a little crazy. I took a nap before. Actually, it was actually like right in the beginning of the UFC fights. I kind of fell asleep, and I think it led into the first couple fights. Anyways, so don't mind my hair and how crazy I look. So. With that, let's, before I go any further, again, thanks for watching. If you do like what you see, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, leave a comment. I think I'm at 9 subscribers. One more gets me to 10, so that'd be sweet. So without further ado, let's move on to the first event, which was, we're going to go over, which is the UFC on ESPN 24. So in our main event, it was Curtis Blaydes taking on Junior Dos Santos in a heavyweight bout. Curtis Blaydes won in the second round with 1 minute and 6 seconds in, and he won with a KO/TKO. And I'll tell you what, Curtis Blaydes is a beast. Like, I was looking at the rankings, and I have them up here. When you look at the heavyweight rankings in the UFC, obviously we have the champion Stipe Miocic as the champ. Daniel Cormier's 2, Daniel Cormier's 1. So confusing. Ngannou's 2, and Blaydes is 3. Blaydes is asking for that title shot. He's got Ngannou in front of him in rankings, but Ngannou's beaten him twice. And then Daniel Cormier is number 1. DC, I don't think, is going to be fighting anybody. Anybody not named Stipe Miocic, in my opinion. And Stipe, I think, I was reading it online. I don't know if it was true or not. I want to say it was like Stipe's like manager or something was saying Stipe, when he comes back, only wants to fight somebody he hasn't fought before. I don't know if they're just trying to throw a bargaining tactic or something to the UFC and DC to kind of get more money to fight Daniel Cormier, which all these fighters get underpaid anyway. But either way, or it could be true and he wants a real fresh matchup. Curtis Blaydes is that fresh matchup. He's already fought Ngannou. He's already fought Daniel Cormier. So, but either way, about the fight, Curtis Blaydes, he looked really good. Like, JDS, man, I love JDS. He's such a nice guy, but I feel like his boxing-centric style, it's just people are learning how to beat JDS, and if you don't play his game or you know how to work around his game, I don't want to say you beat him easily, but you can defeat him. And Blaydes had a perfect game plan. Like, that's one thing I feel like wrestlers should do more often is obviously wrestlers are going to be going for the takedown. So surprise them with trying to shoot for a shot, change levels like we hear the broadcasters talking about a lot. And Blaydes was, of course, trying to go for the takedown a lot in the first round, didn't get it. And I want to say it was Michael Bisping was like, oh, this might affect Blaydes quite a bit going into the further rounds because he can't get JDS down. I'm like, well, why doesn't he just practice, or utilize changing levels and then going for an uppercut or going for a strike? Kind of like what Khabib did to Conor in their fight. Like, you saw Khabib kind of reach down and then overhand. Like, I think it was like left hand he reached and then right hand over and just clocked Conor and he went flying backwards. And Blaydes just, because that's the other thing is JDS, which is understandable. Like, obviously the game plan was to stop the wrestling of Blaydes. Obviously that's the cornerstone of Blaydes' game plan is wrestling. And obviously JDS had to be prepared for it. And I think the broadcasters mentioned it, but JDS's, I want to say, left arm was always further down trying to just get ready to pummel and stop that takedown from Blaydes. But I feel like that was, while it was good, it allowed Blaydes to light him up on the feet in that second round, and just finished him from there with ground and pound. So overall, it sucks for JDS. I don't know where JDS goes from here. Let me look at the rankings. Where is JDS? Obviously, he'll probably go down. Well, he was right below Blaydes, so he's already fought Derek Lewis. Maybe Volkov. I don't know if they fought each other, unless Volkov has a fight. But maybe down the line. I don't know. But Blaydes could possibly get the next title shot, or if anything, honestly, if I was Curtis Blaydes, I would probably just sit and wait. I would pull a Tyron Woodley, get to so high up in the rankings, and then just sit there and wait for a title shot. Let those people fight it out, then get your shot, win the belt, and go from there. It could totally work. So good fight there for Blaydes. Unfortunate for JDS, but that's the way she goes in this fight world. So that was the main event. Co-main event, Michael Chiesa defeating Rafael dos Anjos. That was a unanimous decision, so it went all 3 rounds. What do I want to say here? Chiesa, I think I was looking at Chiesa's record, and I want to say this is Chiesa's 3rd fight at welterweight. Let me look. Yeah, because he lost to Anthony Pettis to lightweight, and then he moved up to welterweight, and fought Condit, and then Diego, and now RDA. If you think about it, Carlos has not been the same for a long time. Diego, same thing. So, in my opinion, Chiesa should have won both of those. And then RDA was the real step up. Like, RDA is such a beast and such a good guy. And RDA, I want to say, is ranked. Let me bring up the welterweight rankings. RDA was ranked 5th. Do you want to guess what Chiesa was ranked? He wasn't. RDA literally took a fight against somebody that was not even ranked, and he was 5th. Let me say that again. He was 5th in the rankings in welterweight. Oh, my God. Think about what this is going to do to RDA. The dude's going to drop down to like 15, and he doesn't deserve that, but Chiesa's so good. Like, he definitely should be fighting people in the top 15. He shouldn't be Chiesa should not be fighting people outside the top 15 in welterweight. He honestly should have came in and fought maybe one person out of the top 15, in my opinion, just to kind of test the water, see how welterweight went, like Carlos Condit, and then bam, get the next shot at the top 15, because Chiesa is so good at lightweight, but then of course he started getting a couple L's and wanted to try welterweight. But now that he's beaten RDA, like, again, looking at the rankings for welterweight, you got Kamaru as champ, Tyron Woodley at 1, Colby 2, Jorge 3, Leon Edwards 4, and then RDA. So, if we just pretend that Chiesa took his spot, Leon Edwards has to fight Woodley. Usman doesn't have a title shot yet. Or, excuse me, he doesn't have a challenger yet. Jorge Masvidal possibly fighting Conor. Who knows? But, yeah, I think that was the right call-out by Chiesa. I'll tell you what, he is jumping the queue. Straight up, let's say if he takes RDA's spot at 5 and then fighting Colby, who's number 2, whew, that's insane. Insane to come in and Colby's a beast, but man, Chiesa might just be able to crack that, just like Kamaru did. Obviously, I don't think Chiesa's wrestling is as great as Kamaru's, but all of the grappling and the scrambles with Chiesa, he could catch Colby, in my opinion. So, granted, Colby's wrestling is beast as well, but is it enough to stop Chiesa's grappling? Like, I guess Colby would have to be taken down first, but that'd be a great fight, in my opinion. Great fight, especially for Colby. Let Colby heal up, let him come back from his jaw issues, and then that'd be a great fight, Chiesa and Colby. Fuck, man, that'd be really good. I'm not going to go through every single fight on each card. I want to kind of go over the first couple fights in each event in the UFC and Bellator card, and then kind of pick out a couple gems that I liked. I don't talk about her enough, but dude, Angela Hill, I know she kind of has a spotty record, in which now, after her win today, she's 11-7. Dude, I love her style of fighting. How, I don't want to say pressure, but the amount of damage accumulation she can put on these girls. And dude, this was a new thing that I don't think I've seen out of Angela Hill, is her elbows and her ground and pound in this fight. Damn, Hannah Cifers, she looks like a beast. Like I've seen her. I want to say, I used to watch her fight in what was that Florida promotion? Oh man, I know the name of the promotion. Now I'm forgetting. Titan FC. I think that's where Hannah Cifers came from before she came to the UFC. And Hannah's been doing real. And Hannah, when in the fight, she got throwing a ton of combinations, like 3-4 strikes at a time. And Angela was just able to tear her apart and take her to the ground and vicious ground and pound. Like, I made a separate video. I'll actually link that at the end of earlier this week when we had Martin Luther King Jr. Day. I spoke about black MMA fighters that I think could get that I not only think but will get a UFC title before the end of their career. And Angela Hill was one of my honorary mentions because I feel like she's so good she could get to the point and she could at least give the champion trouble. Like right now, obviously, I'm always forgetting her name. They have the title fight coming up between Zhang Weili. Man, I'm so bad at saying her name. And then of course, Joanna. She has a ways, of course, to get up to the top 5 because, which was crazy. I thought Angela Hill was ranked, but I thinking about it now. She was in the UFC, then she was let go, then she came back, and maybe she lost her rankings in between then. So she's trying to break into the top 15. She should be in top 15 after this fight, in my opinion. So we'll see how that goes. And then another fight I wanted to mention, the Jamal Hill and Darko Stojic. Man, dude, such a badass name. That was a really good fight. I'm looking forward to watching Jamal over his career. He's only 7-0, so I feel like he's still really early in his career, but looking good. The dude looks good. Who else? Any other fights I wanted to mention? Brett Johns. I was surprised Brett Johns was so far down on the card. I didn't know he was so far down in the prelims. And I wanted to say Brett Johns was actually supposed to fight somebody else, but it got switched up. Maybe it wasn't. But Brett Johns is always a beast. He did good. So overall, not the greatest UFC card. If I had to give it out of 10, maybe a 5. Like nothing crazy. Maybe 5 or 6. Nothing real crazy, but I mean, good wins. It kind of clears up It clears up a little bit in the heavyweight division. Like obviously, Blaydes is 100% deserving of a next title shot, whether it's DC and then Blaydes or Blaydes first or whatever. Like Blaydes is definitely going to be getting it. Chiesa definitely deserves, I'd say, top 10 fight in welterweight division, and Hill definitely should have a ranking next to her name. So that was UFC on ESPN 24. Let's transition over to Bellator 238. This was headlined by Julia Budd, and she was defending her featherweight title against Cris Cyborg. And the winner, being Cris Cyborg, wins in round 4, a minute and 14 into the fight. Into that round 4. So altogether, 16 minutes and 14 seconds in total. And Cris Cyborg wins with punches and a body kick. Now, I wish they would have showed it a little more on the replay and the Bellator broadcast, because I didn't see the kick to the stomach. That if you could see, obviously something hit her in the stomach and it affected her, but I didn't see it. I don't know if it was so fast, because of course, Cyborg, she's just a marauder, and she must have hit her with it, and I missed it. And Cris Cyborg still is so good. I feel like she definitely benefited from that loss from Amanda Nunes. Like her fight, or her fights in the UFC, like of course right in the beginning she was like her typical Cris Cyborg, just came in and just swang and bang and didn't give an F. But I could see over time in her fight she was starting to calm down and pick her shots. Like the Holly Holm fight, who else did she fight against? I'm trying to remember. The blonde chick. What's her name? I'm forgetting. Either way, actually, you know what? I have it right here. I'll look at her. Yana Kuniskaya, when she fought her. Like, you could see, and Tanya Evinger, like, you could see Cris Cyborg getting better and picking her shots and not just, left hook, right hook, left hook, right hook. And so, and then of course the Amanda Nunes loss, I was like, shit, how's this going to go for Cyborg? In this fight, same thing. She was just working on Julia Budd, just slowly, and then she would like pick her shots, and then she would flurry, and then pick her shots, and then flurry, Julia Budd is a beast from what I've seen of her couple defenses in Bellator, but man, she looked intimidated, which is understandable. Like, I heard the broadcast talking about you have to understand you're fighting Cyborg, and there's that mentality. You're like, when you get in the cage, you're like, oh shit, I'm fighting Cyborg. And it's almost like when people fight John Jones. You get in the cage, you're like, oh shit, I'm fighting John Jones. Like, you have to be able to get over that mental hurdle and just let her fly. These people are nobody's invincible. Like, for some reason, people thought, and I didn't say I thought she was invincible, but I'd say Ronda was one of the first fighters where I was like, holy fuck, like, her and Conor. I got to a point like, who the fuck are going to beat these people? Because Ronda was just easily decimating everybody, and then Conor would not only decimate people, but he would also call when he would do it. And then, of course, same thing with Cyborg. People thought Cyborg was unbeatable. Here comes Amanda Nunes. So, Amanda Nunes has defeated Julia Budd and Cris Cyborg. So, can't call Cris Cyborg the GOAT. Amanda Nunes definitely the GOAT still. So, but great fight by Cyborg. Julia Budd, just go back to the drawing board and get a couple wins, and I'm sure she could get another shot. You know, I got thinking, like, Scott Coker was talking about when they signed Cyborg, they were saying how Cyborg had like the best contract that any woman MMA fighter has ever had, and if she does great, it's going to be like a crazy amount of money and blah, blah, blah. I got thinking, what if Julia Budd would have won tonight? Dude, if I was her, I'd be so pissed. Like, obviously I would have tried to keep my composure, but of course after a fight, your emotions all over the place, and you just got done in the goddamn fist fight. But I would have been like, yo, I just beat that woman that you signed all this money for. Like, where the hell's all my money? Like, I just beat her. Like, let's go. Come on, Scott. Open up that purse. But unfortunately, Julia lost, so it's unfortunate. But again, it's the fight game, so great fight for Cyborg. We'll see where she goes from here. I liked Cyborg's idea of a tournament. Like, people talk about how in the UFC the featherweight division is basically null, and which is understandable. I think it's Megan Anderson and oh god, what's the other girl's name? Oh man, I'm forgetting her name. There's I think only two legitimate, or maybe three legitimate featherweight fighters in the UFC in the women's division, and then 3 plus Amanda Nunes, so 4, and maybe Scott can pull in a ton more. I think there's a little more featherweight fighters in Bellator, but maybe start a little tournament. Maybe late end of this year, you let Cyborg fight one more person, and then maybe have her be in the tournament, just like they did with Rory. So I think that'd be cool. Okay, so that's the main event. Co-main event, we had Darrion Caldwell defeating Adam Borics. This was Boric's first loss. Man, it looked like it hit him hard, but you know, just like any fighter, a loss will just make you better as long as you can understand how to learn from it. And Darrion Caldwell looking good. Like, I know some of his just recent previous fights, he wasn't looking all that great. He looked like in his recent past fights he would control a lot. In this fight, he kind of let it go, and it looked good. He looked good. Like, I did maybe 2 or 3 months of jiu-jitsu. I need to get back into it. I've been looking at gyms around me, but that's a different discussion. But from what I understood from my minimal amount of jiu-jitsu training, but from my observing of MMA and jiu-jitsu on TV and listening to broadcasts and people on YouTube and blah, blah, I thought you always wanted to have both hooks in on the legs when you're going for the rear naked. And Darian, I saw, only had one. He only had his left leg hooked in, his right leg, because they were kind of against the cage. And so I was like, okay, Darian's going to try to get his other hook in, then go for it. Well, he went right, he was kind of playing with the arms. I think he was actually elbowing with it'd be his left arm. He would like reach over and elbow. And then he just reached under the neck. And then he was able to get Adam to tap, and I was like, I thought you obviously to make somebody tap, you don't have to have the legs in because obviously Adam tapped, but I thought maybe the legs are in to secure the position. I'm not sure. I need to look that up. But great win by Darian, who moves on in the featherweight Grand Prix tournament. So looking forward to his next fight. Of course, they had the fighter he was going to face off with in the cage, and I'm forgetting his name, but yeah, good fight there. Adam Borics, same thing. Just go back to the drawing board and work your way back up, man. What other fights I want to mention? Oh, Jesus Christ. Shall we talk about Sergio Pettis coming in and blowing the goddamn doors off of Alfred? Give me a second here. Kazakhstan? I've never had to say his name out loud, so. But damn, dude, Sergio Pettis comes in and just. I want to say Alfred took some extra shots after he got knocked down. He was kind of like just sitting there, and the shots were hitting him, and it looked like he was kind of like trying to do something, but he wasn't like covering up. He was just kind of like hands down, just getting hit. And then Sergio was like, "All right, F it, let's." Was it an arm-in guillotine? Was it? Yeah, I think that's what it was. And then Alfred just went out. And then was it Frank Trigg? I think was the ref and called it. I was like, "Damn, dude." But yeah, when he let go to Alfred, and Alfred fell back, and he wasn't even like looking straight up. He was like looking like up, and like his eyes were like rolling back. And Sergio was kind of like standing over him like this. I was like, damn, like Sergio's here to, he ain't fucking around. Like, also in the bantamweight division, that we don't have a champion in Bellator anymore because, of course, it was Darrion Caldwell, but he moved up to featherweight. But he lost his title defense against Horiguchi, but Horiguchi had to give it up. So who knows? Maybe Sergio will get a title shot. I don't know. That, or he get a next fight and then fight for the title for there, because it's supposedly it's vacant. So I could see Sergio definitely getting a fight there. Great fight by Sergio. Next fight below that Raymond Daniels versus Jason King. Raymond Daniels, dude, MVP-esque, as Goldberg would say. Dude's a wild man, but fun to watch. I don't know how far he's gonna go. He's only 2-1, but hell of a fun fight to watch. Actually had him on the main card this time. I don't know if they had him in the main cards on the last fight, so that was fun. And then any other fights I want to mention? Oh, last one, good old Aaron Pico. Aaron Pico on the prelims. What's up with that? I always thought they throw good old Aaron Pico on the main card. But Mr. Pico was on the prelims, and he defeated Daniel Carey. Dude, left hook just to hell. And just flatlined him. And that was it. Dude, Aaron... I know everybody's... I feel like everybody's still kind of up in the air about Aaron Pico, but I think... Do what Bellator does best, in my opinion. Let them be on the prelims. Slowly work up their experience. Then get him on the main card. Don't listen to what Aaron Pico and what everybody around them is saying. Like, oh, he needs to be fighting champions right now, like first fight. Like, fuck off, dude. Get the dude experienced, do it correctly, and then like do the like. I don't know. I feel like Bellator fucked up trying to throw him into the Shark Tank right from the get go, but you have to learn, I guess. Just go back to what you do and let him get the experience he needs in order to get to the top of the leaderboard. Other than that, I think that was the main fights I wanted to talk about, and I think that's it for the Bellator fights and UFC fights. So I guess I'll wrap up the video. Again, thanks for watching. If you have any comments, let me know in the YouTube comments below. I also have an email address. It's the same thing as my YouTube handle. It's BrianNicholsMMA@gmail.com. So if you want to send me an email instead of leaving a public comment, you can do that as well. I'm going to put some videos, I think, up top here and here. Up here, I'll do my my latest video, which is I think my MLK video, and then I'll put some other video down below that. And if you want to click over here, I'll put the subscribe button. And other than that, hope you have a great night, get some sleep, and I think next week, what fights are next week? God, I have to look real quick. Hold up. Events. Am I forgetting a big event? I hope not. Oh, I don't think there is anything next week for UFC. Nope. So next week, I think it's the Super Bowl, so I'll be watching that. But okay, thanks again. Have a good night, and talk to you guys next time. Peace.